My take on this is Carson Wentz is taking a step back this year. And, every year he's been in the league, there's been an injury issue. And this year, just in terms of performance, I think we blame the knee. His performance backed up. And that's just not good. That's not a good trend line. I think the talent is there, but I think mentally the physical injuries will start to take a toll. And then also, I'm just sorry, when you sit and watch the other quarterback lead your team to the Super Bowl, that takes a ding on your confidence as well. I would be concerned about Carson Wentz.
I'm very concerned for Carson Wentz. We all know the cliche greatest ability is availability. Before you become anyone in this NFL, first you have to survive, then you thrive. And right now, he can't survive the rigors of the game. And let's go back to his collegiate experience. Hurt in college. Some people say, hey, I don't want to draft this kid because in his last year of college, I saw him injured as well. And if you look at all the injuries that he's accumulated in such a short career, take it from one injury-prone player to another, you don't fully realize that until the end of your career, and then you can put that stamp on it. Right now, he's trying to climb that mountain once again. But what happens is what you touched on, Whitlock. Physically, your body may say, we're back. But mentally, your mind's like, I'm scared of falling down that hill again, and I'm also not prepared to go sixth gear again. We saw that early season Carson Wentz. We're seeing it in basketball and Gordon Hayward. He's allergic to the rim right now. He's like, I'm not going in there. I know what happens. Pain is highly intelligent. And the trauma he's been through is going to start to take a toll on him if he doesn't get back on that field and gain some consistent confidence. So I feel for the kid, and I also look at him as a franchise quarterback. Got to put the question mark behind it if he's not going to be out there on a consistent basis.
I'm not concerned with Carson Wentz. I think where it starts for me is when you look at a young player who wants to get back out there on the field, you have to pull him back. You have to say, look, we have to do what's in the best interest of the organization and the team moving forward. Don't listen to the chatter because you started off a little slow and the offense didn't look as good and as great as it did entering into the playoffs and through the playoff run with Nick Foles. When I look at the Indianapolis Colts and what they did with their quarterback, they did not allow him to go back out there. And we constantly, what are they doing? Why aren't they allowing him to get back out there? And it turned out to be in their best interest for the future of where they're headed. And so I think they rushed him back. And for him, he wanted to get back out there because of what he did see in a Nick Foles. And he wanted to be the reason why. Look, everybody feels like that. Everybody wants to be the reason why and get the praise and have a contributing piece of what they experienced without him later in the playoff run.
I was, let me be as unbiased now as I was biased before.
So it's not going to happen.
yeah, right. We ain't going to finish
The thing about, you got to understand the pressures that go along with being a Super Bowl champion and the pressure that was upon him to now step in after your backup not only took the team to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl, but walked away with the MVP and the invite to Disneyland. Okay? So he was chomping at the bit all summer long. He wanted to get in. They held him back. And after the Eagles got off to a slow start, they made a decision, okay, game 3, they brought him back. Okay, so you can't tell me there's a whole bunch of rhythm that's going on between him and his wide receivers, and he's got a new offensive coordinator and a new quarterbacks coach. All of these dynamics are going on. His number one wide receiver didn't come back till the week after. There's a lot of excuses and a lot of reasons why Carson Wentz is playing the way that he's playing right now. I would be a naysayer to anyone who believes that he's not going to be the franchise player that the Eagles drafted him to be, because I've watched up front and personal too many great things that he's done. Not only last year, but even this year. There's been some plays that make you just, shake your head. So, and he's still in that development process in my opinion. I got a 3-year window on any player that comes into the NFL. 3 years. Barring injury. Now, he's had injuries and he's missed some time, but after 3 years, I want to see what you look like, what you're going to be. who you are, what your habits are. Because what you look like after 3 years of playing in the NFL, you're either going to ascend and realize your talent, or you're never going to get there.
Well,
and I just don't see it from this guy because, I mean, he lives, sleeps, eats, breathes football. He wants to be great, you know.
You got to get on that field and have consistent success, and he hasn't had that.
Well, I mean, you can't just
You
nullify.
can't compare him to Luck, though. Luck had a lot more success.
I understand
Early
that,
success,
but
day
you can't nullify 13 wins
Hold
last
on.
year either.
Yes, you can. You know how? Not being available. This is not
no.
about pressure. This is not about potential. This is about every single year you have played fewer games for this team. You went from 16 to 13 to 11. Where's that trending? Now, I'm not saying it has to continue to go downward, but we have to now respect the fact that you came here hurt. You came into the league injured with the wrist. Now we got ACL, LCL, PCL, MCL. Now we have back. Once the back goes, I had a back surgery, that opens up the door of compensation. Not to say you're going to get injured going further, but this is not a shoulder. I've had a shoulder surgery as well. A shoulder is completely different than the central component of your core system. And when you're having mental issues that come from that because you're trying to play yourself back and physical toll, that's a formula for disaster. And he's right now in that process.
There are a lot of things that transpire when you get a ACL / LCL injury like that. You start compensating in other areas.
Everywhere.
And my thing is, I don't think there's no way you can be 100%. You know, my 12th year in the league, I had a meniscus tear, got surgery, came back after 6 games, played on a knee that was 70% in the Super Bowl 33, or 32 it was, okay? And I didn't start feeling better. Now, I'm just talking about a meniscus. You're talking about an ACL and an LCL with this kid. And he came back in 9 months where most players don't come back to 10 months or later. Okay, so there's other things that are going on. And when it says back soreness, not back surgery, you know? And then there's so many other dynamics that you got to throw into it because when I look at Carson, I still think that Carson's in the developmental stage. And I don't like this narrative that's being thrown out in offensive football right now that says, you throw the ball early a lot to get the lead and then you run it later on to run the clock out. I don't believe that. I think that when you run the football, you protect your quarterback, you allow him to run play action pass, and your offense is so much more efficient. That guy came back, man, the first 4 games that he played, he got hit an average of 12 times a game and 4 sacks a game.
So Gregg made the best point. They rushed him back too soon.
And that's my only comparison to Andrew Luck. It's not about his playing and what he produced early in his career, because Andrew Luck was off the chart when he started. My point is, when Andrew Luck got injured, everybody, all fans, even the Colts organization, they wanted him back out there. But they knew somebody in-house was like, no, we're not going to rush him back because we know what we have. We've seen what we have, and we're going to secure what we have. And that's what I feel like the Eagles did not do with Carson Wentz.